Can't see nothing. Let's see if we can fix that. Ooh. Yeah, I don't want to see me unless I want them seeing me. Whoa, I look rough. It's all good. It's all good. Question. Any of you bright-minded peoples out there, politicians, anyone that wants to answer me, I'm not sure I'll get an answer about this whole, let's go ahead and say it, everyone else is saying it, we'll see if I can get by with it too. Vaccination. Seems they're going to be starting to force people to do this and do that. Seen New York, New York City, you want to participate? Gotta get vaxxed. Okay. My question being, and I haven't really seen my answer to this, I haven't even seen it brought up, not even the question brought up. How are you going to prove that? You're just going to carry around papers, receipts, vaccination records, along with, just stick it in your wallet, pocketbook, whatever, bring it around with you everywhere. Doesn't seem very convenient. Well, they would know that. Nobody wants to do that. I haven't heard anything about issuing any cards, any vaccination ID cards. But even then, what stops people from counterfeiting those cards and those papers or whatever like that? I mean, you got fake IDs and fake cards flying around everywhere just for tobacco and alcohol use, It's going to stop vaccinated people, unvaccinated people from doing that. Would have to be a countermeasure, right? Wouldn't there have to be some kind of database that everybody vaccinated would have to be put into, right? But even then, what stops good doctors, or any doctors really, just from entering random patients that don't choose to get vaccinated? Say, take a bribe. Say I'll pay a couple $100, a couple $1,000, just enter me in the system so I can get along with the rest of the people, but don't actually want to get jabbed myself. What's going to stop that? It's up to the doctors, the individual. Maybe some good doctors out there don't agree with it. Say, you know what, the vax is their choice. What's going to stop them from just entering them into the system and not actually injecting them with anything? All kinds of countermeasures and, loopholes, right? You can't tell me that they haven't thought about these things, right? How are you actually going to prove vaccination when you're going from place to place to place? Why hasn't that been brought up yet? Why hasn't the question been asked or talked about whatsoever that I've heard of? And I'm pretty up to date on things. Maybe it's just not that time in the storyline yet. It's not that part of their agenda yet. Because I can only think of one way, really, that they could for sure just forced the unvaccinated out of society. Not allow them to participate in this or that or shop or whatever. Restricting access at all with anti-counterfeit measures and all that good stuff. I mean, this is all bound to come up eventually. And watch, I'm sure these news stories will be coming out. Like, well, this doctors have been caught taking bribes, doing all this stuff previously mentioned. Even if there were some kind of gigantic database of vaccinated people, how many of those are actually vaccinated? 100%? No, probably not. Wouldn't there have to be some kind of identification marker on each individual? Nothing that they would carry around, because like I said, counterfeit measures are pretty easy to produce. And even just checking IDs, a lot of people just don't scan things, you know. A lot of, you know, children, kids, stuff like that. Are they going to have their own little vaccination cards with barcodes to scan? Doesn't make much sense to me. The only way they could really pull this off is some kind of individual transdermal marker, chip of sorts. Is this where it's headed? Now, if there is any other possible way, I'm all ears. Let me know. What's your idea? If I were in charge of all this and making sure that you have to be vaccinated to do this and that and use this and that in our society, how are you going to stop counterfeit measures or the dishonesty or protection of other people? How are you going to make sure? Without some kind of transdermal implant on the individual level. Enlighten me. How are you going to pull that off? And why haven't you asked the questions yet? Why hasn't this been brought up? Why are we not seeing this in the news? Because that's kind of a lingering problem that is going to have to be squared with and answered very soon. If you're going to implement any kind of these laws, those measures are going to have to be taken, right? So where is this headed? I'm not even going to suggest where that's headed, other than some kind of extra thing within the injection that they are not telling you about. But I guess we'll wait and see. So for some of you, this is just a heads up. For others of you, I'm legitimately wondering, how are you going to pull this off? Because I don't see any other way. Get back out.